Trust in us. We'll write it down on the back. $20 Chipotle gift card. Congratulations on that giveaway. And let's see what we can get this spin up to. Dan and Cleese. All right, only $39 on that. I was pretty cheap. Let's see what you're going to get. Get a big steal here.
Wheel's getting small.
Oh, yeah. And a $50 to $100 gift card. Congratulations.
DoorDash. $100 right there, you guys. Let's go. That was never.
Congratulations, guys. Congratulations. Let's get this next one up and going. Let's keep it pumping here, guys. Keep it pumping. Keep it pumping. Only $35 right now. We got $50, $100, $100, $200, $200, $500 hits out here. David Mon, congratulations. Let's get that spin for you. And a $200 to $500 bang. Congratulations.
It's the last one.
Congratulations.
See what the last four was?
Let's see how much it's rocking for. $200. Congratulations. Let's get the next one up here. And we're also going to put a giveaway up for you guys. So make sure you guys are joining the giveaway. Let's keep pumping. Let's keep pumping. 10 seconds left on the bet. We're only at $9. Let's see something happen here. Let's get moving. Let's get moving. Only $25. Get pumping here, guys. Only 27. These bets are low. Let's see something happen. Only 35. Let's see it climb up a little more. $35 for there. Sandra, congratulations. Let's spin for you. It's not letting me click on the spin for a sec. All right, we're spinning this wheel. $25 to $50 gift card. Congratulations.
Dick's Sporting Goods, $25 right there.
Dick's Sporting Goods for $25. Let's keep it going. Only $6. Let's get pumping here, guys. You guys got crazy deals out here for only $16. Let's see some prices go up. All right, only 25. Let's keep it pumping, guys. Let's keep it pumping. Only $27 for big wins out here. Moon Cherry, let's see what you just walked away with. That's because you're spinning. $25 to $50 gift card. Congratulations. Let's see what you get. A Dick's $30 gift card. Let's get this next one up. Only 14, 17. Do you guys like it when we do the death matches more? Or do you guys like it when we take a little more time with this? Yeah, this is our first show. Death? Sudden death? All right.
Sudden death.
We'll pull sudden death off right after this. 10 second. We'll probably do 10 or 15. We'll see how we're moving. We got another spin coming right now. Sam, congratulations. Let's see what you're getting. $25 to $50 gift card for an ultra $50 gift card. Congratulations.
Dang.
And I am switching up to, I'm switching the auction right now to sudden death. We're going to go 15-second sudden death here. So let's go. Let's go. We're started now. No extension on the time. Let's get bids pumping. Let's see something happen. 5-second sudden death would be crazy, especially with how we're moving right now. We only, oh my God. Yeah, we're not going to be able to do another one of those. Let's get that spin. $50 to $100 gift card. Oh my God, that's like all that's left in this thing. Let's see, how much is it? $90 gift card. Congratulations.
Which one is that? 98.
Yeah, it was 98. Now we're on 99. Only $19 right now, guys. Let's see something happen. This is crazy. This is unbelievable.
Do you think we should call it and stream again tomorrow? The rest of it?
Yeah. After we'll be streaming for another 16 minutes, and after that we're gonna hop off, guys.
Yeah. Shiver me down.
$25 to $50 gift card. Got the 25 to 50. A Lowe's $50 gift card. Congratulations. Let's keep going, guys. We still have a lot of hundreds left on the board. Only 12 seconds left on the bet. We are started. Only $1. Let's see who's going to take this down. Let's see who will be taking this down. $30 right there. Let's see it. All right, let's get the spin in really quick. A $50 to $100 gift card. Let's see it. Walking away with a Dick's
$90 gift card.
$90 gift card.
No, that was 100.
Does it say 90?
That was number 100.
Yeah, it was number 100. All right, another one up in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Let's keep it pumping, guys. 10 seconds left. 5 seconds left. Only $19. Let's keep it going, guys. Only $28. Let's see it. Let's see it. $10 to $20 gift card. 10 to 20.
$20 gift card right there. Let's go, you guys.
Congratulations. Let's get the next one up. Yeah, it was 101. Now we're moving to 102. 10 seconds left on the bid. Let's see something happen, guys.
Let's go, you guys.
Only $20. Let's see something happen, guys.
I think it's because all the 200 and 500s are gone.
Yeah.
Prices.
34. And a $50 to $100 gift card. Congratulations. And you won a DoorDash $75 gift card.
That was 102.
Yeah, that was 102. And let's get this next one up. $24, $27, only $31. Let's keep this pumping, guys. Let's get this spin going for you. $100 to $200. $100 to $200 gift card.
All right, here we go.
I'm gonna get another giveaway pulled up for you guys right now too.
Roblox
$120 gift card. Ten seconds left on the clock. Let's get pumping. All right. Let's get your spin. $100 to $200 gift card for spin number 104. Congratulations.
$100 gift card right there. Let's go, you guys.
We are supported through Card Cash here, guys. That's how we're able to do these streams. I'm going to get another one running up right now for you.
Make sure to check out Card Cash. Great place to get cheap gift cards until holidays.
6 seconds left. Let's see something happen. Let's get pumping. Here we go. Let's get your spin. $25 to $50 gift card.
Let's go, you guys. Got an Ulta right here. Ulta $50 gift card right there. Let's go, you guys. All right, let's run another one. They banned my last name. What? No, we never had a different account before. You guys can see once you ship everything out, you get a refund. You got 3 days to get a refund once you get everything in. If you have any issues, you ship it straight back. We only ban the people that are being negative because it destroys the stream. I mean, once people started saying bad stuff, just made everything go downhill. We'll run one last giveaway, and I think we're gonna call it for tonight. We'll stream again tomorrow. Same setup. The rest of these. Why is it not letting me run a? What? It's not letting me run this giveaway right now. You guys keep doing what you're doing. You gonna spin for me? Did I not spin for you? I'll spin for you right after this. Were you number 106? So I'm getting so distracted reading the chat. Yeah, these spins are going horrible. Even with the most amount of people we had too. This is for the giveaway's right there. $50 to $100 gift card. This would be the last giveaway tonight. $90 gift card right there. Yeah, that one's yours because you were number 106, right? So 106, and then spin once more. And you got a $25 to $50 gift card for number 107. And we'll run 3 more. Get to 110, and then call it for today. It's a $25 gift card right there. It's wrong. This one. I don't know what people are saying it's a scam. Go check out Card Cash if you want cheap cards for cheap prices than this. Spin that wheel. All right, there's one going right now too, starting at $1, $10 to $20 gift card right there. DoorDash, $15. Make sure to check out Card Cash. It's a great place to get stuff. And I need to run the wheel for. This is for number 109. $2 on the clock right now. Jesus. Fortnite gift card. $50 right there. And that was number 109. And then the giveaway winner gets a, this will be our last one. Last spin for tonight, and then we're going to call it. We'll stream again tomorrow. Giveaway winner gets $50 Lowe's gift card. Congratulations. All right, let's go, you guys. Last spin of tonight. Hope you guys like the stream. Card Cash, yeah, you can check it out. There's lots of things out there. It's going to see $100 to $200 gift card. Roblox gift card. We're waiting in the night. $150 on that. Let's go. Yeah, let's just swap the Fortnite. What do you want instead? I'll give you a Dick's one instead. Yeah. All right. Well, you guys have a great night. Can I swap the Robux? Yeah, I'll give you a Dick's one instead. All right. There we go. All right. I hope you guys have a good night. Tune in for our show tomorrow. We'll be streaming again. And make sure to check out Card Cash. That was our sponsor. That's how we got all this. Could have do this without them. So thank you. You guys have a great night. It's price of the Dicks, $150. There you go. 1 cent. 109. All right. Well, you guys have a great night. Let's create a raid. Let's raid somebody's show.
No, don't do it.
Why?
Because there's things that you can serve.
Okay, hold on 1 second. We gotta Okay, so hold on a second. I need to get my gotta get my hat, gotta get my glasses, gotta get my Where's my hat? 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 I don't know where my hat is. Okay, well, we'll just have to do without the hat. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about what I just saw on this show that was quite interesting. I'm going to try to use some neutral wording, but I don't know that I can consistently do that. So hold on a second. Let me... Okay, hi, hello everybody. So you're wondering, who is this weird person? I was watching this show and I have been in bed all day because my back, oh my God, I did so much holiday shipping. My back has been like killing me. And if anything made me like jump out of bed, it was when I saw this show because I started seeing the comments that came in. And at first I was like, there's something a little odd about this. So for those of you who recognize me, oh my gosh, yes, this is Stay Home to Shop. You know me as Whatnot's. Well, one of Whatnot's most trusted sellers. I am notorious for the seller support shows that I do, which are The Ship Show, Whatnot's #1 acclaimed seller support. I've been doing that almost 2 years now. And then this past year, I've been doing How to YouTube on Whatnot. So I'm still keeping up with this chat. This chat is still going after this show has ended. And this was a gift card show where people were purchasing different gift cards. Here were a couple of problems that were raised in the chat, and I'm not making any specific accusation. I think everyone is presumably innocent, but there are a lot of rules that apply anytime you're making purchases over the internet when it involves financial instruments, and gift cards would definitely be a financial instrument where things can go not always according to well, you know, it doesn't always work out well on both sides. I think I'm like really trying to dodge making any specific accusations, but this is something that I noticed that just instantly reminded me of this guy named Mr. Beast and some of the controversies he found himself in a couple of years ago in the past. He was not involved in this, but like instantly the way this setup was run. So if you guys want to know about the Mr. Beast controversy, you can go on YouTube. Yes, this video is still up 2 years later on YouTube. And there is a guy who used to work for Mr. Beast, and he talked about his concerns that there may have been illegal lotteries run. So this is a totally unrelated separate matter, but it outlines all of the specific requirements when you're doing these live selling shows and having these incentives of rules that have to be followed. And if you don't follow those rules, it could be considered an illegal lottery. Now, I am not accusing Whatnot or the sellers of that. I'm telling you this information is already available online if you want to research this on your own. Because here's what I noticed with the show, and I wasn't involved in the planning of it. I have no financial stake in this show whatsoever. I will not receive any reward, period, from Whatnot, from the sellers, from any buyer restitution fund, nothing. Okay. I get nothing financially from this. So this is all my opinion. But I know that you guys love my opinion, and that's why you should be watching all of my videos, whether or not they've ever been recommended to you by YouTube, whether you have an easy or a not so easy time finding me when I go live on Whatnot. You should be watching all of my videos because I'm the one who's going to tell you these things. If you haven't heard this information so directly before, it's probably because you haven't watched enough of my videos. I'm very direct. Again, I am one of Whatnot's most trusted sellers when it comes to trying to follow the rules and not get into these situations because this one's kind of messy. So I'm going to tell you the concerns that were running through the chat consistently. And you can read up on the chat. You can it's a little messy, but you can read up on it. Number one is, was this a scam? Do these gift cards actually have the money values that they're saying they have? That is always a potential issue. It looked like all of the gift cards were in packages, and then they had money. Some of them I saw had written on the back the redemption value, but because the wheel was set up where you would get a range of a gift card, and I'm not going to make anything up. I'm going to let you review the video, but you'd get a range of a gift card, whether it was $10 to $20 to start, for example. Um, anything that fell within that range in theory would fit that description. The problem though is that when I've read through Whatnot's rules, because this one intersects a lot of different ones, it comes down to, is this a surprise set? Is this I don't think it would be considered a card break, but in different categories, there are rules that are laid out that you have to follow because Whatnot's had enough experience, transacting billions of dollars of legitimate purchases and sales on the internet. They've got enough experience that they do have certain guidelines that have to be followed. And this was one where if you're going to use a randomizer wheel for a purchase, it, I believe, has to actually tell you the exact product. It can't be $10 to $20 gift card. That's just not specific enough, because a $15 Starbucks card versus a $10 Bed Bath & Beyond card. I'm using that really bad example because Bed Bath & Beyond hasn't been in business for several years now. That $10 card wouldn't be redeemable there. That's not what I was seeing on the table, but it's not specific here. It's not telling us specifically what card was being won and what the redemption value is. At one point, they said they were sponsored by a company. I don't even know if I want to repeat the company's name, because if the company really isn't a legitimate sponsor, I don't want to insinuate them or associate them with this. So they said they were part of this was being sponsored by some gift card company. Well, that would have been good to know at the start of the show. If that's what it was. If it was a marketing or publicity stunt, and these cards are being sold below redemption value, I think at the very beginning, revealing that information would have made more sense than saying that in response to some of the questions that started coming up, because the level of dialogue started to kind of like escalate, and then people even started to accuse them of running a scam. So if there's enough confusion within your chat that people really don't know what they're winning, and if they're going to get the value of what they think they're supposed to get, that's at least concerning. So you can go to help.whatnot.com if you purchased a card, and you can inquire for customer service reasons. If you think that there's anything more significant here, obviously you can reach out to trustandsafety@whatnot.com, and you can even email them. And because this seller only has this one show, from what everybody's been saying, they don't have any reviews. They said it was their first show. Sometimes you cannot always rely on that, because if they've tried this in the past, it's gone badly, or if they've done one before, but they haven't gotten reviews yet, we don't 100% have a way to verify that exact fact. But it doesn't seem like there's a lot of past account history associated with this one, which is another reason why it's very interesting. Why would you sell financial instruments at below their redemption value, like way below their redemption value? Especially if you are being sponsored by a company that basically, I guess, will give you cash if you want to sell your gift cards. So they know what the value of those cards are, how they came up with these different bands, let's say $10 and $20. I really wish I had something to look at visually where I could explain this, because I don't want to make up any of these facts. So the idea is, was this a legitimate purchase and sale, or was it gambling? Yeah, here's a fun one. And yes, you should definitely check out, thank you, by the way, Sadie Sue, for mentioning that I am talking about this. I'm talking about this in real time live on the internet, because I'm giving you my impression just like anybody else could. Not everybody has a YouTube channel with as much Whatnot content. Not everybody's sampled as many different shows. Not everybody has worked with as many legit top sellers as I've experienced in my years with Whatnot. So I think a lot of people's immediate reaction was kind of to cringe and say, there's something wrong, but I can't exactly put my finger on what it is. And there were a few things that I think went wrong during the show. Also, they lost count. Now, at the heart of the Mr. Beast saga, and again, everybody's presumably innocent. So he had a former colleague who raised concerns that he was running illegal lotteries. But at the heart of the that controversy was that's kind of what happened during one of their shows that didn't involve anything with Whatnot or this company or whatever, is that as they were running these live auctions, it got really hectic. And so people thought they were going to get extras or they were winning things to get included with their purchases that the people behind the scenes couldn't keep up with. So then when they actually got their order, what they received wasn't lining up with what they thought they should be getting. Um, and that's exactly what did happen when they got the numbering off here. And so then they were trying to adjust for that after the fact. Again, we have to follow the rules in a live auction setting. And so when sellers and buyers come to, agreements or make rights and it's after the fact, that can compromise the integrity of the auction itself. And you don't ever want to be accused of doing that, especially if there's no real reason for you to have to go there. You know, having a order canceled or refunded might preserve the integrity. And we have to be aware of this because these numbers all had different financial values associated with them. So people were bidding based on what they perceived to be a good price, based on the cards they could see on the table, based on how many slots were left on the randomizer. Yes, this sounds like a roulette wheel. It sounds like a gambling setup. I'm not making that exact statement, but I'm just trying to give you a mental picture of what's happening. So fear of missing out comes into play. Scarcity comes into play. So when people are making those, swipe and purchase now decisions, they're having to make a assessment themselves of what am I actually going to be purchasing? What's the likelihood I'm going to get one of the more desirable items? And when you get those numbers mixed up, then everybody doesn't get the desired item, period. End of story. Some people end up with a windfall, and some people end up saying, well, I would have never bid that if I realized the card segment that I had wanted to win was already sold out or running low. So you do have to maintain the live auction component no matter what show you're doing. And they could have been doing this with any type of product, by the way. They could have had stacks of I don't know, candies. They could have had, 1 to 2 pounds of peppermints, 3 to 5 pounds of fudge, things like that. This is, I think, one of the reasons why whenever I've gone back and read the rules with Whatnot, I don't myself do surprise sets and randomized pulls like that because it gets really confusing for the seller and it gets really, I don't know, it can get overwhelming. So they had two people that seemed to be kind of working this show and they just weren't keeping up with the chat. That's the number one rule you have to follow is when you're selling anything on Whatnot. You absolutely have to follow what the chat is saying to you because that's the interactive component that people look for on Whatnot. That's why they choose to spend their money there. And when you ignore it or try to brush it aside or start blocking people because you're seeing comments you don't like, that's a problem. Now, some people are gonna jump to conclusions and start making accusations that really aren't founded. Hey, we live in this is a First Amendment country. People can say a lot of things. I didn't see anything that was so disrespectful or completely founded that I would have said, oh, you need to ban the person. I think you could have said, hey guys, we're not going to talk about, a scam because we're trying to run a legitimate show. this is how kind of I would have quieted down the language maybe a little bit. You can actually put that word into your blocked list, so they have to find a more polite or acceptable way to say their concern. But I'm going back to all of these comments. This is one of the most commented shows I've seen ever. Okay. It says, these are not loaded cards. This is what somebody is saying, not me. These are not loaded cards. Just up to how much you could put on the card could be the scam. Okay, that's one concern. Um, they're showing less and less of the cards. Yes, as they're pulling the cards, there wasn't a full reveal. There wasn't, and for some reasons, I don't think you always want to show the full card number. Usually, you have to unpack it, and there's like a scratch off code. But just having that card number visible, there are so many computer programs. So I think some of that's security, but then some of that's also good faith selling and buyer understanding of what's going out in the mail. Also physical gift cards. This is the time of the year that they tend to disappear, period, in the mail, even if the seller sends them. So these were sent, I think, with USPS Ground Advantage, which would be insured up to $100 standard. But on financial instruments and monetary exchanges, you'd really have to look into that. That's something I've never actually had to go down that path with the U.S. Postal Service. I'm telling you the real deal, or even really whatnot. Okay, no more $200 to $500 range. So that top range ran out. That placard was still on the table. So people come in and out of these shows. They don't necessarily follow the entire show to see what's going on. That would have been a really, really good point to rip that placard off so that nobody got the wrong impression, especially if they're not listening to the show, that there was an actual $200 to $500 card still in play. Because those randomizer slices, they're very tiny, and you can't really read them that closely. So somebody might have made bids assuming there were still $200 to $500 cards somehow assorted in these different piles, and the piles were kind of like disorganized. They were kind of like just, I mean, there were Roblox cards, there were Dick's Sporting Goods cards, there were Lowe's hardware store gift cards. I'm just mentioning different companies that I saw. And again, I'm not assuming that any of these companies had any involvement in any wrongdoing, but their brands are being shown. Okay. If you don't want to be here, just leave the show. Let everybody do what they want to do. Well, yeah, we all want to follow Whatnot's rules. So I think anybody has the right to be in the show as long as they're playing by the rules. Shipping is way too high for a gift card. If you're sending it first class mail, but that would be completely uninsured, that would not be a good plan, especially for this one. Can you all show yourself? Well, I think it's a little late for that. Haven't you all had a different account before? So this is something that was reminiscent of problems with a past show, I think. And this is maybe what made people suspect, are they doing this just kind of in a revamped background or something? I don't know. I didn't see that past show. They put up another givey, but they didn't even call out the last one. That is an interesting one because the giveaways were also gift cards. Woo! When you're doing assorted value items, as a best practice as sellers, it might not be the best plan to give away the same type of products because you can get those two mixed up so easily. And even if it's an innocent mistake, again, when the buyer and the giveaway winner receive what they get, they're not going to be pleasantly surprised here. So maybe if you're going to sell gift cards, you don't give away gift cards. Maybe you give away something else. I mean, and Whatnot is a very open platform for what you're allowed to give away and what you're allowed to sell. There's not a shortage of ideas or concepts. Some sellers, they'll send stickers in the mail. Some people will do jewelry. Jewelry's lightweight. So as far as shipping prices, it doesn't really cost more to send a pair of earrings, a small necklace, a bracelet, something like that. And that couldn't be mistaken by your fulfillment team for a gift card, a piece of jewelry, or something like that. And I don't tell any seller how to run their show, but that one definitely I saw repeatedly, what did the person win? Because it seemed like they were having to pull from the same stacks. It wasn't clear where they were getting these extra giveaway gift cards. And the giveaway gift cards, they had a pretty wide value range listed. I don't work for Whatnot. I'm not the Whatnot police, but as a viewer, it's best if you specify the amounts and the actual product itself. $5 Starbucks cards. I see that a lot in shows, things like that. What else? Oh, by the way, this background, it all looks like it's AI generated. As a reality, yes, we do that for thumbnails, but we don't do that for actual products. So any product that could be one should not be AI generated. It should be an actual real photo. Okay, they put up another giveaway but didn't call out the last one. Yeah, so who won the $5 and who won the $500? If you're not keeping up with it, and the problem also, a new seller, assuming total innocence and lack of experience, a new seller would not know this, but the video receipts will never exactly align with the winning second. The sellers, we use those, as we're filling orders, but we sometimes have to move the clock forward or reverse a few seconds, because it's really when the payment clears that it burns in that timestamp. And so we know that as experienced sellers, but a new seller, if you were only going by video receipts, you'd probably be off on all of them, because you'd be looking for when the payment cleared timestamp, and you really need to know when the auction timer stopped. And those are two different time codes. That's the best explanation I can give. I don't work for Whatnot. I'm just telling you the experience that I've had, having sold several thousand things. And so sellers they'll learn that pretty fast. But also buyers, when you get your video receipts, you might not know that. So you might instantly see alarm bells going off saying, wait, it says I won a $20 one. Well, if that's when your payment cleared and was finalized, but in fact, when the auction clock stopped, you won the $200 one, it wouldn't be that obvious to you unless you've shopped a lot with Whatnot and you kind of know what to look for. But you got to call it out. You got to say, this is lucky number 72 and this is unlucky number 73. Does everybody have their lucky numbers? The chat is kind of fading as I'm holding this down. Okay, hold on a second. What else? Somebody was having a side conversation. They said they will send them, I'm assuming, the card numbers or amounts. Somebody said they banned their last account. Can't get into that. Have no clue what you're talking about. Haven't you all had a different account before? So here's where we're starting to see similarities maybe with other shows that have gone horribly wrong. Somebody says, I'd be careful once you ship something to someone, we have your name and address. So the sellers will have their contact information. And so again, imagining that there's any nefarious purpose behind all of this, it seems like, okay, maybe bidding $15, thinking I'm going to get a $25 gift card. I never get the gift card. I didn't really lose that much. You did give up personal information if you didn't want it to go to the wrong place. Assuming nefarious purposes, we're assuming everything is innocent. And when Whatnot locks down an account, from what I've seen on the internet, they do a full lockdown. Like the person can't get in there and even look at those video receipts. So if it gets to that point, they will do some kind of controlled access limit. However, once the information's out there, it's out there. So yeah, don't put your information on the internet if you don't want it on the internet, I guess is kind of how I always think about it. I didn't bid on anything, by the way. But I did enter the giveaway. Sometimes I win stuff. Somebody said they may have been taken from a store without purchasing them. I would not make that accusation, but those did look like store packs. So again, if you're sponsored by a gift card company, is this product that they have given you? Is that how it's packaged? Because a gift card company that's doing a huge sales volume, I don't think would be interested in retail packaging. But I'm very that's my best guess. I don't know because I haven't done business with this gift card company either. Um, does the person who's sponsoring it have whatnot? Yeah, like how much does the gift card company know about the platform and how it works? And why did they choose you? Because as a new account, you have the least experience, qualification, following, reviews, all of the above. So that seems like a strange one. But again, let's go back to Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is the number one YouTuber. He gets a lot. He gets billions or multi millions of views on his videos. Um, and sometimes he had people who literally just were kind of like day one new employees doing stuff that didn't seem to have a lot of experience or background. You can watch the dog pack video if you really want to see what does a allegedly illegal lottery look like. You can watch that. It's on here. I'll show it to you. This is not me talking smack about these companies. This is me telling you this stuff happens in real life and it can replay itself over and over and over again. But this is also where people learn what to look out for. So there is an educational component to all of this. It's a learning exercise. Here's the video I'm talking about. I work for Mr. Beast, yada yada yada. And right about halfway through, this guy goes through these. Let's just take a little intermission and listen to what he has to say. Is it gonna play?
For $1 million, unless it ended up being 100 people in a server.
Sorry for the audio.
During these live streams that he's just doing this for fun because he loves giving things away.
Oh, and I just like giving away stuff. It's kind of funny.
Imagine you just lost a bunch of money at the casino, and the owner comes out and he says, "Guys, the reason I do all this, I just love giving away money." Also, you're 7 years old in that example. It's insane that he can flip these massively profitable illegal lotteries targeted towards children as an act of generosity.
I'm going to give you guys a few minutes to go place an order at shopmrbeast.com. Anyone watching any of the lives. And we're going to throw iPhones in some of them.
And again, there are very few videos of this live stream on the internet. I think.
Okay, so I want to correct. Whatnot is for adults. It's not targeted or marketed toward children. So that's a big difference there. But yeah, expecting an iPhone to show up with your order, there's no iPhone. That was one of the problems that Mr. Beast had to address. Okay. Sorry for that. Just don't know why a video receipt isn't showing. Video receipts aren't instantaneous. Again, payment has to be, the payment has to clear basically, and that takes a few seconds. You see, the auction clock stops. Whatnot's going to assume the payment's valid, but then the buyer has, their bank has to approve it. Some banks do and don't get along well with Whatnot because of the high frequency transactions. And then usually the buyers, Whatnot's pretty gracious about letting the buyer retry different payments or put in a different payment method if one bank won't accept it. There was a WNBA card that sold for more than $600,000 this past year. I don't know, which credit card or bank instantly approved that. The video receipt isn't really gonna exist until Whatnot gets its money, and that takes some time behind the scenes, but it's usually pretty fast. Okay, let's keep it moving. I believe you guys keep doing what you're doing. I believe there's a legitimate way to follow Whatnot rules no matter what you want to sell. You can sell gift cards. It's allowed to be sold. It is a product that is allowed to be sold. I want to clarify that. The last time I looked up Whatnot rules, I had a printout right next to me until I threw them away the other day. But gift cards are allowed to be sold. But what is being sold? Is it the card itself, or are we using the card as a substitute for casino chips? Because that would be a different scenario. Okay. There's a giveaway going on. You guys are paying. You guys paying are getting peeled for your money is what somebody's saying. Could be. That could be. Somebody could overbid. They could bid $50 and get a $20 card. They could bid $500 and get a $20 card. somebody said, one of the viewers said, he said the giveaway is not working right now. If you don't know how to use that feature, you need to know how to use the feature. The giveaway feature is it's one of the tools I really like. It's a marketing tool from a seller's perspective, but you have to understand how it works. And a new seller that did not seem to be they did not seem to be comfortable with that. Also, before I started on Whatnot, because I this is going to be coming up on my second year here in about a month, um, or my full, so it'll be my third year, basically my second anniversary. The tool originally, when it rolled out, you couldn't overlap auctions and giveaways, but that has not been the case for a long time. So you are allowed to overlap auctions and giveaways, but just know that once upon a time back in the day, that was another limitation. So you can have a giveaway running at the same time you can have an auction running, but you have to be able to keep track of what's going on with both. Why is everyone saying this is a scam? We've talked a lot about that. Somebody said I'm going to go because all the big prizes are gone. So yes, so this is somebody who paid attention to the cards that were behind the sign before, that had been, pulled off the table, presumably because they were won. But if you still saw that sign on the table, then obviously you may have come late in the show, or you might not have ever understood what was happening. Okay, does the person who's sponsoring you guys have what it, somebody says, but it says number 107. That's not fair because they're noticing the count is off. And if you go to the sold section, we can look at that now. I can show it to you right now. It'll tell you how many items and whatever. During the live show, you'd actually see his prices. Now we won't be able to see anything, but this is a pretty good one. So it says wheel spin 107, but it doesn't give us any more detail there. Wheel spin 108, wheel spin 103. It's not telling us what company, what amount of card, but during the live show, it would have at least showed what the person paid. But in theory, these amounts would never be matching, or they would only very, very rarely match. That somebody would pay $50 for a $50 card. The goal would be to purchase it for less than what it was worth, but it could happen in reverse. They could pay more than what it was worth. So you wouldn't expect to see that as another way to check these account values. The amount paid and the actual card values wouldn't be dollar for dollar or anywhere close. They'd be all over the place. I'm still scrolling through this wheel spin, and then we have giveaway, gift card giveaway, and you can see how it has it listed $10-500 sign after that. Now that's an interesting one. Does anyone understand that? Because I've sometimes seen, like, in the US we put the dollar sign before, but overseas I think they put it after, like the euro sign. I don't know if that caught anybody's attention as being very unusual. But usually the US correct would be 10, like the dollar sign 10, and then forget about the range, because we probably want to know what that $10 really is. Not that it could be anywhere between $10 and $500. But it would also be, dollar sign 500, and then we want to know what it is. Okay, cool. So we look through all that good stuff. And you guys can watch and rewatch this video as many times as you want to. Dogpack has accumulated, that's the former Mr. Beast employee. He's accumulated, I don't know, how many views has this video gotten? And this controversy is still a couple years old. Let's look, because I'm watching it now. 16 million views. So if you've only watched this one twice, watch it a few million more. You might learn something else. Okay, let's go back. Does the person does the sponsor have, I guess, a registry of what these cards are and who's winning them? It seemed like that wasn't the case. It didn't seem like the sponsor was controlling the distribution of the cards. Will you send the card number on what's been bought? This is another thing. Why would you? Why would you want that, or why would you need that is kind of the real issue. Because these are physical cards, they're not digital cards. And for physical, again, as an additional safety precaution, you usually have to scratch it off, or you're going to have to open it. And once it's been opened, you have to assume that it could have been used, or some of the value could have been redeemed. So you have to be aware of these things. There are security measures in place for good reason. Once you break those security measures, it can affect the whole integrity of the product. And here we already have some show operational issues going on. I may not be able to do a follow-up on this if they ban me, so just telling you. I'm telling you what I can tell you while I can tell it to you. I'm talking about the seller banning me. I don't think Whatnot's going to ban me because I've been very clear. I want people to follow Whatnot's rules. Okay. FYI, they're banning people from the chat that are saying fake. Okay, well, there you go. See? I didn't say it was fake. I thought it was really real. I got a card on your other account and want to know if you'll send it to a message. Ooh, this could get really messy. If somebody's saying that they maybe, let's just pretend it's like, husband, wife, or spouses, or husband, wife, wife. You want me to message you what a different account won on a gift card? That's another door for problems. So the scamming can be happening both ways. And I'm not accusing the person of scamming. They're asking for a convenience or courtesy. But I don't see how that's going to help resolve anything. You'll get the hang of it tomorrow, Star. Each spin, then pull before doing the next one, so no confusion. Ding, 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 ding. But again, by tomorrow, let's really review that rule book and let's start putting in the actual wheel, if that's how you're going to do this, what those cards are exactly, not what they could be within a range. Somebody said the name of the company, Card Cash, question marks. Just reading the chat. What about 110? So somebody's following the numbers and noticing how many cards should have been pulled and actually are or aren't. Next show, just make sure that you have the gift cards as 1 to 3 ounces for shipping. I think that they did, from what I see. My shipping was $4.47, which would have been the same. But this is all location based. So if somebody is on opposite coasts, I don't know where they're shipping these cards from, then maybe it looked like it was going to be $5 or $6. And if you're in Alaska or Hawaii, that pricing can really go up. And if you're outside the country too. So it's really the location of the buyer that's going to make a big difference on that. But from what I see on the screen, it looks like they did have it priced at 1 to 3 ounces. Again, that's going to cover your first $100 of insured value. Okay, let's keep it moving. Wheel needs to empty in a matched scenario. Yeah, I guess the wheel would empty as each card was getting pulled, and then there's one fewer card, one fewer slots, and maybe it didn't seem like that was happening. Can I please swap the Fortnite? Somebody is an older customer. You can replay this part of the video if you want to watch what they said. I think they agreed to make an exchange. I am a very strict seller when it comes to playing by the rules. So my answer would have been, you won the Fortnite card, and that's what you'll be getting in the mail. And kept going, because now people are, in theory, cherry picking the prizes, and in reality, we know that what's on that table, none of those cards are identical in value. If you're going through a third-party distributor, like a gift card repurchaser, the actual true value, so forget about what you can use it for at a store, the actual true value of that card is going to be determined by supply, demand, and popularity. And so even though it might seem like a $15 Starbucks card is the same as a $15 Lowe's hardware store card, the reality is if you go to third-party sites and you ask how much would you pay me if I wanted to sell you that card, I don't think any of them is going to say $15. They'll give you an amount that's usually less, but maybe Starbucks, I'll just make up a number. Maybe they say they're going to give you $12. Maybe Lowe's, they say they're going to give you $7. So letting people exchange and cherry pick, similar with like baseball trading cards and things like that, you just don't do that. That's just not an accepted strategy because this is a live auction. We have to play by auction rules. So it's not personal shopping. It's a live auction. Okay, let's keep it moving. I know you could get in trouble for not having the correct weight. Let me put that one aside. Actually, Whatnot's pretty cool. If you watch my video that has more than 14,000 views about Whatnot shipping, it's the one that is at the top of the Whatnot playlist, and it says Whatnot shipping rate, and it tells you what we pay for priority mail, which is less than $10 at the time I'm saying this. I'm trying to future-proof this a little bit. But that video has been up for more than a year. It's got more than 14,000 views. It has never once received $1 or 1 penny of sponsorship from Whatnot, from the post office, from anybody. But I simplify the Whatnot shipping prices by just explaining we have lightweight, which is less than a pound, and that's going to ship with Ground Advantage. Then we have best rate for USPS priority mail, between 1 and 5 pounds, or a single flat rate package. And then we have heavyweight of 6 to 70 pounds. So I understand all of the other legitimate concerns, but I want to smooth over any concerns on that. No, you're not going to get in trouble if the weight's wrong. Whatnot allows adjustments, and they actually allow sellers to make those free adjustments without charging the buyer anything if you stay within that lightweight, so less than a pound category. If you thought it was going to be 1 to 3 ounces, but it's really going to be half a pound, let's say 8 ounces, because somebody got a bunch of cards. No, there's no punishment there. So I'm just gonna put that one off to the side. So anybody who's watched my video, you should feel much more confident knowing how Whatnot's shipping pricing works. It's not meant to penalize anyone. So that is not exactly what I would agree with on that particular comment. If the weight's wrong, you'll make the adjustment before you ship the items out. But in the lightweight category, you've got basically anywhere between 1 and 15 ounces is okay. Now, if it goes up and we go to priority mail, you've got about a 5 pound wiggle room there, because you got between 1 and 5 pounds, 4 pounds, let's say. You got 4 pounds of wiggle room. So that's another place where you wouldn't be penalized. If you thought it was going to weigh 1 pound, it weighs 2 pounds, you just make the weight adjustment and you're still within that range. So that's why I think a lot of people like to watch that video and rewatch it multiple times and make recommendations to all of their friends and favorite shoppers, because it's not sponsored. It's true. And it's true more than a year later. So I'm glad we were able to all come to some good understanding from this. Okay, let's keep it moving. Oh, somebody did some research, it looks like. Hold on a second. What's Roblox? I think it's a video game. And very cool show. Look forward to the next one. And somebody did some web sleuthing. It says Cash Machine does not issue store gift cards. Cash Machine are prepaid MasterCard debit cards. Okay, but I think the company they said was Cash Card. So I didn't do the web sleuthing. So that would be good to know. So maybe that wasn't the correct sponsor, or maybe these are just totally different companies. But I'm glad you checked up on that. That would make a big difference. Can you swap the Roblox? Again, I, as a seller, would say we're going to follow the auction rules. Okay, and now here's where I come in and I say, this is on my YouTube channel. If anybody wants to review the chat, stay home to shop, Whatnot playlist. There you go. I have to verify that it's on the playlist. It will be on the playlist. Somebody's saying, I just won that. I guess they were saying giving the card to somebody else. If you're off by a number, that would happen. Yeah, that could have happened. You can rewatch that many times. You just won't see the chat with it, which is why I wanted to do this video while I could. This is on my YouTube channel. If anybody wants to review the chat, thank you, thank you, thank you. Good first effort. You'll get better. Well, I hope so. I hope everybody gets better. Okay, and then they started to raid, and then somebody said, "No, don't do that." Wave bye to the cam. LOL. No raid. Wow. This is on my YouTube channel. If anybody wants to review the chat, stay home to shop. Whatnot playlist. Keep going. Okay. Well, he would have 100% done a raid if it was legit. I don't know that doing a raid makes it legit or not legit. I think the challenge is some sellers. First of all, these sellers seem not to understand the basic features. So a raid is an additional feature that no seller is required to use, but basically it would take the audience and put it in somebody else's show. I am going to be neutral on that. I don't think it would have made it legit with a raid or without a raid. It's just how you choose to end the show. And there's a lot of misconceptions about what you can do after you raid. If you could possibly restart a show, yes. And I don't want to go down that whole rabbit trail or rabbit hole. But yeah, I think that was just that conclusion's like a short circuit. No, it doesn't make it legit if you raid somebody. It doesn't mean you had a legit show. It doesn't mean you had a scam show if you don't raid somebody. It's just I think in some ways it's a good thing not to involve other people or dump an unhappy or confused audience in somebody else's show because it's going to cause that further disruption. But they could have sent them to me if I was live on Whatnot. I mean, I would have clarified all this. We would have sat there and watched that shipping video a few times by now. It's a good one. You should watch it. Okay, he wanted to, but the partner was like, no, don't do it. Yes, I do recall that. That means they have no intentions on being Whatnot on the long term. Some people want to do one and only one show. Some people want to do multiple shows, but you got to follow the rules no matter what. Whatnot's trust and safety team is pretty good at addressing concerns, but they have to kind of like triage them because they're constantly getting reports. On something like this, I don't know how fast they can intervene given that the sellers have 48 hours to ship out the items. So we know before that 48 hours expires, there are going to be conflicted claims over who gets what card. We've seen that in the chat already. But until the people actually physically get their cards, they themselves don't really know what and if they have a valid concern. They don't have a dollar amount to complain about, so to speak. They don't know if they're actually getting the $200 card or if they're getting the $20 card. So we don't know what's really going to happen. But we can anticipate that there will be some conflicted order fulfillments. So yes, so we know that. But the show's already done. The payments have already processed. People have already swiped and bid. They are the owners of whatever they rightfully should have received. But untangling what that exact amount is and which card, which company, I don't know. That's not my job. But this is, again, why as a seller, I don't do this sort of a show. This to me just all seemed very, very strange. It seemed like the gift cards were being used as a substitute for casino chips, is the impression I got. It didn't seem like people were basically wanting to purchase a Lowe's gift card, maybe at a reduced price or something like that, or looking at the table and saying, oh, I shop at all of those stores or most of those stores, or those would be really good holiday gifts. That's why I want to bid. And whatever I get, in theory, is a good value or a convenience. It didn't seem like the buyer motive matched the product shown. So that's where using a financial instrument or substitute becomes problematic. But you are allowed to sell gift cards on Whatnot. I've said that many times. You're allowed to do that. It's in the rules the last time I checked. If you want to know what you are and are not allowed to sell on Whatnot, go to help.whatnot.com, type the word prohibited. Okay? Go to help.whatnot.com and type the word prohibited. that will pull up a list of all the things that are not allowed to be sold on Whatnot. When you get to gift cards, it says gift cards are allowed. It's kind of in a strange place because it talks about other financial instruments that are not allowed, but then at the bottom it does say gift cards are allowed to be sold and given away. So here we have it. What else? Somebody says, do you think it was a scam? Somebody says, yes, you have a feeling it was a scam. I say this is on my YouTube channel. If anybody wants to review the chat, stay home to shop. Whatnot playlist. That's not a scam. You guys keep watching. And then it says they do not care about ratings, or if anyone reports it, that was a scam. Well, I think that's another conclusion that's being reached, but we don't know yet because we don't have those first orders going out. You have to give them the fulfillment time. You're going to have a lot of buyer remorse here because of all of the conflicting. Well, what if I had won the 500 instead of the 50? Or what if I had gotten the Lowe's gift card and not the Starbucks gift card? I don't even know if I heard Starbucks though. I should probably stick to companies name, or Roblox. What if I gotten the Lowe's gift card and not the Roblox? Would I still want to keep it? You're going to have a lot of buyer remorse. And that's why on the randomizer wheel, had the actual card value itself been put instead of a range, you wouldn't have everybody in the show second guessing. But when you have a range of something, yeah, a lot of people are much more inclined to say, well, you know, if I get the Best Buy gift card, then I'll be okay with it. But if I don't get that one, then I'm gonna request a cancellation or refund. And if rightfully that was what they were supposed to get, then they really don't have the valid reason to do that. So I'm not encouraging any false returns, period. You know, auction rules apply. If you stick to strict auction rules, you won what you won, will go by the auction clock, then you avoid all this. But when you do after the fact exchanges and when you can't answer the question in real time, you open up the door to everybody being unhappy because they realize that potentially they could have gotten a little something better than what they really, really won in the first place. Somebody says, I think scam. That was totally a scam. I'm always happy when people prove us prove us wrong, or prove us right. I mean, like, I hope it's not a scam. I hope there is some magical corporate backer who can take these financial losses and just send out plenty of gift cards. I feel like if everybody feels as a scam, we should report the page. That I feel like you have to read Whatnot's rules first, and you also need to kind of refresh a little bit about what is gambling or what could be an illegal lottery. That's why I pointed you to the Mr. Beast YouTube video critique by Dogpack404, because he puts it in very, very plain language. He's not a lawyer. He's a past employee. He did not leave on good terms, but that may have given him a heightened awareness of all that was wrong about some of the situations he's explaining and describing. So if you can put those specifics in, that does help Whatnot's trust and safety, because otherwise they have to kind of untangle this huge spaghetti mess. And if it's not your gift card, it's really not your complaint to make, so to speak. So they will get a handful, I'm sure, of inquiries, and they've got to look at the specifics of those. So I just think that, you know, I wouldn't make any accusations. I'm assuming everybody's innocent, but innocently we find ourselves in this tangle. Okay. Chat GPT called it a scam. Well, I'd like to have a word with Chat GPT. I just read that comment. Sorry. I don't accuse ChatGPT of anything either. I don't know. Good luck, guys. It's way too close to Christmas. Yeah, don't put money into something you can't afford to lose in this type of setting. You think you're going to be writing Whatnot? Try to be factual and specific. Try not to over exaggerate or use inflammatory language just because you think it's going to get at a higher priority assignment. and it has to be your complaint to make. So just, please make it your complaint. And if it also, as an audience member or prospective buyer, if your question was being consistently ignored, that's a legitimate reason to say I have concerns. I asked this question several times and I did not get a satisfactory answer. I feel like that information should be available about this type of product being sold. Whatnot has buyer protection. Yes, they do have buyer protection. They do have seller protection. But keep in mind, we all ultimately pay those prices. I know sellers don't like to pay fees. I know buyers don't like to pay fees, but we all pay for that protection. So let's not rely on it where it doesn't need to be used as a substitute for other, resolutions and good judgment. Okay, that way you can get your money back, all because this was all sorts of this. Just having a messy show or an auction, I don't think entitles everybody to a full refund or whatever their list of demands is. Again, this is an internet auction, so you have to look at specifically what happened and what the appropriate remedy is. Now, I do want to mention something, because I don't talk about my customers, but I can talk about my experience as a seller. This is something that impressed me a lot originally, or when I first started on Whatnot almost 2 years ago. I was doing giveaway items. Again, maybe don't give away the stuff you're selling. But I was doing giveaway items, I think, on one of my shows, and I think I was selling craft supplies, and I had mixed up like it was a nominal value item, but I had mixed up sending that as a giveaway to somebody else. Got a message. I'm not talking about any customer. I'm just telling my seller experience. Got a message, hey, I got the wrong giveaway. What was it? I got the wrong giveaway. It should have gone to the person, some other person, before or after. But I don't want you to send me anything. I just want to send this to the correct person, I think was kind of the general request. So I don't know, maybe that is talking too much about the buyer. So somebody who received something that they recognized they shouldn't have gotten, wanted it to go to the correct person. I said, dear Whatnot, can you please send a label so that this person can send this to the correct recipient? And I do have a duplicate. This was a lucky one. I have a duplicate of the exact item, the person who's not complaining, but what they should have gotten. And I'm happy to send that. And Whatnot said, go ahead and do that. So even though the person's saying, you don't have to send me anything, I know this is messy because it involves like 2 different people and Whatnot. I just want this to go to the right place. And I said, but I can send you what you're supposed to get. I have an extra one. So even though I got the thing switched, I'm not relying on anybody else to solve that problem. I have a duplicate. I'll send it. And I was impressed that Whatnot said, do it. And so even though the person's not interested or requesting it as a valid transaction, that's what I did. And just said, hey, that's, thank you. I appreciate all that you've done or offered. And, I will still fill your giveaway order because it was the correct item to send you, or however I worded it. I try to be polite, but I still had to fill that order. That wasn't something that could just get canceled because it's a legitimate transaction. And so I lucked out there. I'm like, whew. I have an agreeable problem solver who's notifying me before the other person is even like really upset or whatever, and I can still satisfy my obligation even though I had to send out a duplicate. these were all nominal values. I was impressed that Whatnot said, yes, do that, because it's the right thing to do. They didn't say, well, don't waste the postage, like that was the wrong thing to do. So I've always been impressed with Whatnot's, we're going to do the right thing attitude. Okay, so we're moving on. It's kids getting online, maybe. Everyone should report so this doesn't happen to others. I don't know what you're reporting. I don't know how you think something is or isn't going to happen to others. I think people need to read the rules themselves. Whatnot just refunded you for an order you didn't receive. So that wouldn't have been this show, though, because it hasn't even been 48 hours. And that's the minimum time you have to give a seller to ship it out. And then it's going to have to take standard mailing time. So in other instances, I think they're just saying they've resolved it favorably. Guys friend each other in here so you can update each other. Oh no, like a Survivor Club. Well, you should definitely subscribe to my YouTube channel. That's probably the appropriate thing to do. They weren't even saying the numbers correctly to each things. That's why they kept doing a giveaway. Oh, interesting. Yeah, I guess in theory, if you overlap a live auction with a giveaway, then you've got kind of a distraction or a stall, because the giveaways naturally will run for 5 minutes unless you pull them early. So that's interesting. That's very astute. We'll see how that plays out. Somebody already reported midstream. Okay, there we go. So Whatnot's already gotten at least one report. If you add up what they took from people, it's about $3,000. Okay. Well, that's a lot. But you know what? Again, let's go back to our $600,000 legitimate sale. It was, I think, 660, but I don't want to over exaggerate. So legitimately, some people will pay $600,000+ for a single trading card if it's what they themselves want to purchase. So 3,000, yeah, that's a lot of money. But there are more high value transactions out there. So I don't conclude that it's all lost funds, but I think there's going to be a lot of dispute. Oh, thank you. Okay, it says don't report until you know for a fact that it's a scam. That's messed up. Well, you can report your concern if it's your concern. If it's just a general, I think some people are getting the wrong gift cards, that's their concern that they need to report. So, I think you need to have some specific facts here. People are agreeing. If you bought friend each other, if they're not a scam, you'll be totally surprised and be sorry for misjudging them, but it seems kind of sketchy. I'm friending just to know what happens. Yeah, right. Okay. I'm telling you, Whatnot has buyer protection. They can't take your money like that. Somebody says, guess what? They just did. They will check it out. And if it's not, they won't ban them. Doesn't hurt to be concerned. Yeah, you should be concerned. Okay. Cancel your order. Again, this is a live auction, people. There are legitimate reasons to cancel orders, but from everything I'm hearing exactly the way it's in the chat, I don't necessarily think everybody has the right to cancel. I think everybody should have looked at the way this was being operated and realized the potential that they were going to get disappointed, for sure. Oh, and I said I'm live on YouTube, so that kind of catches us up. Whatnot just refunded somebody an order from November 30th that never showed up. So that's beyond 14 days. I don't know what the package tracing shows. I don't know what the order was. I can't get into specifics, but again, there are instances where things do get lost in the mail and cannot be relocated. That could happen. So that's not completely unheard of. At Stay Home to Shop. Okay, what do you mean sold a ton? I don't know. I have no idea what that is. Step up. Somebody said I didn't mean to tag you. And then somebody says on their other account for their business, they've sold about 7,200 items. So you understand Whatnot's basic functions and features. They take your account from your money. Yeah, that's the way it works when you buy something, I think. And it says buy, but guys, they can't get paid if it's not shipped out, right? Okay, so yeah, here's what's going to happen. So now that the show's over, the shipping clock has started. They have 48 business hours. Whatnot will calculate the precise time it has to actually get an acceptance scan from the post office, but they've got a couple days. Today is a Wednesday, so I think that's going to carry us into Friday. We don't count Saturday. I don't think it's going to carry it into Monday, but they've got to get the stuff. They've got to get the stuff basically, I think by Friday. They've got to start printing out those labels and sending those cards. Then you give it about a week, and if things don't start showing up, because the good news is with Ground Advantage, the tracking's pretty good. So Ground Advantage Priority Mail, you'll actually start to see the movement of the parcel. Now with a first class envelope, which would be let me see if I got an example here. So this would be an example of a Ground Advantage package. I've got the label on the other side. So it's just got to be bulky and like a padded envelope that's going to be more than half an inch thick. That would qualify. So like even a rigid card mailer would qualify for a package. But it's not going to be the first class letter envelopes in theory. If we know what we're doing, if we're doing this appropriately, this would be first class letter. Okay, so these really don't show much tracking movement, but they do show drop off confirmation and delivery confirmation in some electronic form that Whatnot can verify. But with the ones that have barcodes at the bottom, and I really can't pull one to show you as an example because it's going to have customer information, even if it's my own. Those barcodes, it'll show you as it's moving through the facilities. So after Friday, you should have a pretty good like routing to see where it's going, like what post office it was dropped off at, what sorting center it was dropped off at, and it'll start to predict delivery dates for you. So it'll actually show movement. Now, if it just says label created, we haven't made it to the post office yet, or it hasn't gotten that first acceptance scan yet. Whatnot does have a tool that sellers can use in the app to actually scan when they drop off, if they want to notify Whatnot. So there are two different ways that Whatnot can look at that tracking. They can go to the U.S. Postal Service. They can also look at their own app data if sellers use that feature. It's kind of cool. I like the feature myself. I've used it myself, but I would not use it inappropriately. So just, the buyers will start getting updated notifications of when their packages are to arrive. And if they don't start seeing that, within a few days, then yeah, definitely. I would say, number one step is contact your seller, let them know, see if they can get you an update. But don't be overly patient, because then you can just go directly to Whatnot, cut and paste that or screenshot that message, say, I've tried to reach out to the seller. I gave them 48 hours to respond. I didn't get any additional information. Now Whatnot has a much better understanding of why you're concerned and that you're actually trying to resolve this proactively, not just cause unnecessary attention to something. I don't know. Like jump to the front of the line, maybe. I don't know. So they won't get paid until something is delivered, is the idea. And somebody says it's questioning everybody's intelligence. They have to ship it. Yes. And somebody said they're not sure. They are asking. Somebody else said they don't have 1,000 in sales. So 1,000 in sales would allow for an expedited payment to the seller once they print their labels. But that's why sellers want to get their stuff to their buyers, to prove, hey, I know how to do this. I can do it about 1,000 times. Now, can I get paid sooner rather than wait until the buyer actually receives the item? Because that extra week or longer in delay time can really upset something, especially if you're basically running a cash flow. I don't know what to call it. If you're running a cash exchange type operation, you would definitely want to have instant payout enabled as fast as you could get it. Because you can't sit on money like that and wait. I don't know what the face value or redemption value of the gift cards is, but that's about $3,000. Let's just say that's being held off to the side, maybe more. So yeah, you can't just let that happen and then do another show and wait for that 3,000 and do another show and wait for that 3,000. You can't. You have to have your money reinvested in your inventory and paying your expenses, including your shipping supplies. They won't get paid as first-time streamers right away anyway. They have to create labels and go through all kinds of hoops. It's not that hard, but this one did get a little overly complicated, I think. You didn't buy anything, so I guess don't trust me on it. I guess everyone will find out one way or another. I wouldn't say don't trust you on it. There are some legitimate concerns being pointed out here, especially if you've shopped the app before. Then you notice when things seem a little unusual. The item has to be delivered before they're going to release the funds. They'll probably ship, but you bet there's no money on those cards. That's the ultimate risk here, is what are these card values? Because we don't know. We never saw any validation. I usually do not give out gift cards as giveaways, but I was on a raid train a couple weeks ago and they required a giveaway and they strongly suggested a $5 gift card. So I said, okay, fine. I'll walk to Starbucks. I'll get the $5 card. And they printed out a cash register receipt that shows that it was loaded up with $5. So that's as much as I can do to assure the person who receives it that there was money put on that card. If for whatever reason, when it goes to the cash register at Starbucks, if it doesn't clear for $5, I have no recourse or reason to understand what happened in the meantime. Because once I put the money there and I put the card in the envelope, I don't know what happens after that. Now, if it really gets into big amounts, sometimes companies can pull transaction trails and things like that, but that gets really, really messy. So you don't want to have scamming both ways or either way. But the good news is, with gift cards, I found a gift card. Ooh, this was a fun one. It was like 12 years old, I think. And it was just in a junk drawer, and it was like a holiday gift from like 12 years ago. It was like a $10 McDonald's gift card. Well, these days you cannot get a whole lot at McDonald's for $10, but they were running like a special for an $8 Big Mac value meal. And it has been so long since I've ordered that because the prices have just gotten ridiculous. I rarely go to McDonald's anyway. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to get a Big Mac value meal. And it worked. It actually did work. The card worked after like 12 years. But I had like the cash register printout receipt with it, or whatever confirmation they used to give with those. I had it just in case they said, oh, well, we updated our computer 10 years ago or 5 years ago. We don't have any record of these cards or whatever. I had everything I could find on that, and it did actually work. But most people would have just thrown it away and said, oh, it's probably already been redeemed, which the likelihood is, most of the time it probably would have been redeemed. So I thought I found that. Okay, let's keep moving. Somebody says, stop making noise. Hold on. Can we just pause on that? That no money on the cards. Okay. again, we're not accusing any of any wrongdoing here. We're assuming everything innocently here. Okay. Do not make a bad situation a horrific situation by trying to cover up things if you know there are going to be problems, is kind of the way I'm thinking about this. I'm not giving anybody legal advice, but there are huge differences between not playing by Whatnot's rules, which is a problem itself. But then when you take it to different levels and you start sending out cards that you know do not have the value they're supposed to, that potentially is going to get involved in what some people might allege as mail fraud. I mean, right now we're dancing around the edges of what some people might eventually start calling wire fraud. But that's what's done is done, okay? And so doing more things like grabbing random cards that you know don't have any value, or if it says $20 on the card but half of it's already been spent, and putting it in the mail, now you're getting into a really nasty sand trap, because you're going way beyond the problems you might have to resolve with Whatnot and their community and their buyers and employees or whatever. You would potentially be opening yourself up to the postal inspector, and I just don't even want to go there. But if you want to learn about the the U.S. Postal Inspector and the enforcement capabilities that they have, you can watch my YouTube video, because one of the Whatnot sellers I've worked with volunteered to go and do a video showing how high the prices of the post office are, and that's on my YouTube channel. You can watch it. And we do talk a little bit about the postal inspector, because instantly they did not like the fact that someone was filming their rate board inside one of their locations. So if you would like to learn more about some of the enforcement capabilities the U.S. Postal Service has, I would encourage you to watch my YouTube video. See, you're going to get so much good information on that Whatnot playlist. Did you not know that already? That should be like required watching for everyone. You'll love it. And if you're wondering, well, where did you get all this footage or whatever, that's in their public relations video. Okay, somebody just said so. Okay, if you're telling me they're a scam, they're going to ship out cards that were taken from a store, and they just wrote 25. You know, that's another question, is what are these cards' values? Where did they come from? Oh, but that's a good, I'm glad that somebody said that. I'm not making false accusations, but I'm glad somebody questioned, could that happen? If you steal gift cards from any approved distributor, they can track and trace those batch numbers. And in theory, these places have pretty good surveillance. And sometimes that will uncover a whole other inappropriate business. So sometimes the physical card numbers can be traceable. Now, again, this is like needles in a haystack. So there has to be like a big batch that goes missing or something like that. But that's sometimes a way to actually identify who is getting these cards and how are they getting them. Because until you actually take it to the cash register and you make an actual transaction, if you go steal cards off a rack, they're not going to have any value on them, period. So it'll have an amount printed there, or you could write any amount on some of these cards, but it won't actually have any real value. But knowing those numbers, you can start to link them to locations, and then you can find scenarios where it sometimes uncovers all kinds of additional information. Okay, we'll just have to wait for reviews to roll in. I wouldn't wait. I mean, do what you're supposed to do in the time frame you're supposed to do it in. Also, if you do have a problem with the purchase, make sure you start resolving that within 30 days. After 30 days, Whatnot pretty much seems to have a hard stop on a lot of things, and that could be for a variety of good loss prevention and accounting reasons. So please, please, please don't ignore it or forget about it until next year. But don't get overly paranoid. You've at least got to let the first few hours pass. And you're gonna feel silly if it wasn't a scam. I don't think you should ever feel silly. You've identified some problems that even if we assume an innocent intent, that shouldn't get repeated. That's what I'm noticing. Just as an audience member, I can't speak for Whatnot. And then it says, always be curious because gift cards are one of the biggest scams when it comes to resale. Yes, a financial instrument will always have the right and wrong audience. You're totally right because you just heard about this in a different show. You heard they were doing a lot of gift card scams, a lot of perfume bottles. Interesting. This is a different show, I'm assuming. You'll probably get a card with no money on it, is my guess, because of how they ran the show. Them being promoted and then not having reviews follows or anything like that makes it weird. I mentioned that. I mentioned that a commercial third party would unlikely sponsor a new account with no history. That seems very peculiar. That means they will possibly have to pay for shipping. The customers pay for shipping, and that's the amount that you agreed to when you bid on the item. So whatever it said, that's what was included in your purchase price at the bottom of the screen. Right now, mine says $4.47 plus taxes. Yeah, but they could run with the money, basically leaving Whatnot to cover it. That's way, let's check back with the friend circle. Let's look for the comments under this video and see what happens. Because you won't really see a lot of comments, I'm thinking, on this show. If the account is banned, I'm trying to think if they leave up past comments. Sometimes they do. Sometimes they leave up past comments, but the sellers don't have any way to reply to them, and you don't. So let's see what happens on this video on YouTube. Okay, for that to be the first thing that they come on here and do is their first show is kind of odd. Yes, that was definitely shooting for the stars. But if they would have to pay for shipping labels and stuff, so you're telling me they would go out of their way to pay for the shipping labels? No, that is not how Whatnot is set up. That's crazy. Maybe I'm not going to stay in contact with you. As soon as I know something different, I'm going to tell you, yeah, there you go. Whatnot does the shipping labels. You pay for the shipping. It goes with your final cost of purchase. I should just keep reading the chat, really. I think you guys know what it is, but you keep the hope alive. They weren't even defending themselves. They were giving very limited information. They mentioned the name of their quote-unquote show sponsor after people started looking at financially, how does this make any sense? Like, why would you sell these cards at less than face value? Just doing their own mental calculations. But again, the problem here was the ranges on the wheel. So are you looking at the top range or the low range? Because the actual cards themselves were going to be somewhere within that range. So, like right here on the background, it says 20 to 500. Let me move this. And then it's got the $ after the 500. That is not a US standard format. That is something, this is the third time like I'm pointing that out. That's more of a European or international convention than it is a US way of writing a dollar amount. Okay, but $20 to $500. So if we had a gift card that was $500, then we had one that was $499, then we had one that was $300, then we had a gift card that was 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, 21. You get the idea, right? It's skewing people's notion that they're gonna get cards in the hundreds range compared to the 21, 21, 21, 21, 21, because you just don't know what's in that stack. So if they would have put $21 Lowe's gift card on the wheel, people would know that's a $21 Lowe's gift card. When it's gone, it's gone. And go to that lady's YouTube channel, because we are, and she's explaining this. Well, thank you, lady. Who are you, lady? I don't even get offended. To check out, stay on to shop. They're talking about this stream right now. Oh, good. And then join. So more people found out about this. So whether you found out about it before, during, or after this whole sequence of events, I'm glad that Whatnot and YouTube are really good compatible partners. I'm glad that I can show you these examples. I'm glad that I can share my shopping experience with you in real time, real life. And, we all, as part of this community, have a different experience. So I'm glad we all got to connect on some level. Now, tomorrow, depending on when you watch this, so on Thursday, I will have my final seller support of the year 2025, which is how to YouTube on Whatnot. I might use a little bit of this as an example. I'm going to see what happens in the meantime. But I have a full show plan no matter what, because I've worked with so many phenomenal sellers. And what I have seen in this past year since I've been doing how to YouTube on Whatnot is that the statistics for Whatnot content compared to just general YouTube statistics are off the chart. I am so impressed, and in a good way. I am so impressed and surprised by what an amazing job some sellers have done promoting themselves and setting themselves up for success using YouTube with their Whatnot business. Now I can't get into all of that because I would be on here all night long. I have a full hour, but 1 p.m. Eastern, you're going to see that on Whatnot. Now, with those shows, I do try to get a replay over to YouTube as quickly as possible due to some technical bandwidth limits. It is a replay format, but you could go back and watch a full year basically of those shows, and you'll get seller tips. You'll get people telling you how they were able to do some of these strategies that we've learned about and discovered as a group. And I'm just excited. I think this has been one of the most eye-opening and interesting projects that I've ever done. And so I hope that some people will find that seller support video, which is going to be on December 18th, last one of 2025, how to YouTube on Whatnot. And until the next time I see you, I hope you can stay home to shop.